Hey guys, Jona here, and I'm in Poland this week on the hunt for quirky tools. And a great place to start is Leroy Merlin, because I've been to one before and I found some amazing stuff, but I've been told that Leroy Merlin in Poland has got some Polish made tools, some Polish brands. I can't wait to get stuck in. Let's see what's coming up. I find a giant's toothbrush. Not many BFGs about in the UK. I attempt to cut this pipe. Straight away locked in. And disaster strikes. Let's get into it. This is pretty cool, this Top-X brand. It's really cheap too, so this is like a through-tang screwdriver, a square shaft, so it's pretty good quality, solid thing, and it's 24 zloty, so right now it's about 5 zloty to £1, so that would put that at just less than a fiver, about £4.50, which is pretty good. So as I'm going around and you've seen any of the prices, just divide everything by 5 and you'll get it into pounds. This isn't the first one of these I've looked at, but this is quite an unusual design. So you put that in your drill and then make a little pump, but I don't think I've had one that's got like a through way. Not sure if that can move more volume, 900 litres an hour. The one I got was a Stanley one. Still pretty good to be fair. Got sideways chuck, that's pretty cool. 79, so that's like 12 quid, like right angle drill chuck. Graphite as well, so that's a new brand on me. This is a bit of an unusual one. I've never seen a pipe cutter quite like this thing. Usually it's just a cylinder that you twist around a pipe. You don't really have a handle on one. But then also it's showing that it's cutting 8 to 29 mil. So again, that's like, it's quite a high range. Usually you'll have like a 15 mil copper pipe cutter, 22 mil copper pipe cutter. You don't usually have such a wide range, 8 to 29. So I'm not sure if it'd be any good. But the other thing is, it's about a tenner. So probably worth a try, I think, to give that a go and just see, is that any good? It's got a 2-year guarantee, so they're standing behind it. But there's only one way to know, and that's give it a go. So we'll put it in the trolley. Selma, that's a brand I don't think I've seen before. Selma Professional. Looks like it's got Bosch batteries. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same as the Bosch battery. I have to go a bit steady with power tools because I've got a suitcase with a bit of space in it, but I don't have a huge amount of weight, and the tools really put the weight limit up quite quick. That's my excuse for not buying more tools. Could do with cleaning up the welds a little bit, this Comensal. That's a bit tricky, innit? This reminds me of the Denmark trowels. It's interesting how each country, their trowels like evolve in their own way. So it's a very different to a UK trowel. That's a little bit closer to like a UK trowel, but all of these are slightly different to what we'd have in the UK. You don't really get corners on your just standard trowel in the UK. So each country kind of develops and evolves their tools in a slightly different way. Like, look at that thing. That does remind me of the Danish ones, to be fair. I was hoping to see a Zollstock here, and that is definitely a new brand on me. Waart. I've got to get a few of those. That's one of the best price Zollstocks I think I've had, that is. And it's a pretty nice one as well. So I get one for me, and then as always, I'll get another 5 for the channel. And you know what to do. This is the start of the giveaway. Drop a comment down below. Any tools you think I've missed, make sure you're subscribed, and then you'll be entered into the giveaway to win. Well, for starters, a Waart Zollstock, but maybe something else. And it doesn't stop there. Look at this. You got big Waarts and little Waarts. So you got Waarts for all occasions here. This is a 1 meter Waart Zollstock. And also, there's a few wild things here. Look at this thing. Mega 1 meter. That is the tiniest little tape measure in metric. And it is metal. I thought that was going to be a fabric tape. But that's actually a metal tape. And that is £7.29. So that's like £1.20, something like that. I think that's got to come in as well. That's got to come into the mixer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is quirky. That's probably the tiniest tape measure I've ever seen. So I'll get 5 of those as well. Always nice to see a bit of an English brand represented. Stanley Bailey. Everything does seem really well priced here. So that's 75, so it's like 15 quid. Stanley Bailey strap wrench, and they've got a little corner clamp as well. Doesn't say made in the UK. I can't see where it's made. It says UK importer. It's got this Stanley EU, like Belgium importer. I'm guessing that means it's just made in China, to be fair. But the Stanley Bailey planes and chisels are all made in the UK, which is pretty cool, but I can't see them here. This was one of my favourites from last time. This is like a double-ended knife. I've never seen this in any other store other than Leroy Merlin. So you push it that way and the blade will pop out, and you can have like a hook blade, and then you can flip it round, pop out a blade the other way, and you can have obviously 2 utility blades of 2 different types. That was pretty cool. One of the most unusual knives I think I've ever found in terms of utility knives. I've got a pretty good collection now, to be fair. Neo Tools, I believe, is a Polish brand, not made in Poland, but hopefully we found a few cool Polish brands, Neo being one of them, but I think I've got quite a few 25mm snap-off knives, so. That is an unusual recip saw. I don't think I've seen that one before. My Makita recip saw weighs a flipping ton. But that thing's less than half the weight, I'd say. 1,000 zloty, so 200 quid for a body only. I think that's quite on the high side, to be honest. I reckon I'd definitely get that cheaper online. But sometimes it's just about discovery. I can always search that up online later. My recip saw's sat in my Makita power tool wall. If you want to watch it, you can go and click it up here. That was one of my first videos where I was actually in the video. And the recip saw is at the top with 2 hidden screws underneath it because there's so much weight in it. But I'm not going to fork out 200 quid on it here. But interesting to see that things are moving forward and changing for Makita as well. So that's good. There's something else a little bit different. They call this a hacksaw blade, but that is a traditional hacksaw blade, isn't it? Traditional width, kind of a metalworking saw, just teeth on one side. But then this is like a dual-sided one, wood foot on one side, metal on the other. I think it goes into a standard hacksaw because it's still got the standard length and the standard slots left and right. So any normal hacksaw can take it, but then you've got like a bit of a thicker steel saw, so I'm guessing that's a bit sturdier. And then you've got 2 rows of teeth as well. This is pretty cool down here. So this is Neo Tools, that Polish brand. Looks a bit flipping deadly, this thing, doesn't it? It's like the smallest amount of plastic to create a handle for one of these chunky dual-sided hacksaw blades. And again, that's like about 4 quid. I think I'll get one of these as well and one of these. And we can try and put them in like a normal British hacksaw and give them a go. That looks pretty cool. I'm not sure what that is. A Winkhaus. I know Dedra is a Polish brand, and it says it's an Allen key for window adjustment. I think usually if you just adjust a set of French doors or a door or a window, you just usually use standard Allen keys, to be fair. But this thing is it's like a really thin little, maybe 10mm spanner, and then a small little 8mm spanner here. And they've built you in a lovely little bottle opener, so once you've adjusted your window and door, you can, have a beer and pat yourself on the back for doing the job. And then this bent Allen key is pretty cool too, but I think I'll get that because it's another Polish brand in the bag. This is a pretty wild looking level ruler thing. It's like a Toblerone triangle version. I think this is the standard width between EU sockets, 71mm, so they have like square back boxes rather than like the double mattresses we have in the UK. And then they've got the standard measurements, so you can like mark out boxes on the wall. Reminds me of the Weir level that I really like with the move-in little blocks. And that's coming in at a tenner. Jufisto, professional's choice. Can't see where it's made, but definitely not seen one of those before. And then you've got like little sliding guides, so you can mark out your locations without actually marking on your ruler. If nothing else, it's a lot safer to cut foam if you're keeping your fingers out of the way, so I think I'll get one of those. It's great to come to another country and try and see what's made there. So Comensal, Polish brand, but also made in Poland. So that's the first made in Polish tool that I've seen. Quite a nice scraper, to be fair, just like a nice handle, really like quite a good heavy weight to it. It's not quite a through tang. I suppose you call it through tang, but you shouldn't really be whacking that with a hammer too hard because it's a flexible scraper at the end of the day, but you just know it's got metal all the way through the handle, which is good. And the prices are good. So like the standard one, like 19. So Polish made scraper, nice, like a lovely quality. Like I say, it's not a budget one, and that's 4 quid. That's not bad going, is it? It's another Polish brand in the bag. This is pretty cool. So Dexter Pro have got their own toolbox, but this one is also made by Kubrick. But interestingly, I think it's the System 2 box that they have, which does integrate with all the other systems. So even if you have a Dexter Pro, you can still like attach it to and integrate it with the other Kubrick boxes. But this one has got a lifetime guarantee. Now I've spoke to Kubrick and they've said basically, no matter how old your box is, they'll look after you and they'll replace the parts, and they want to make sure all of their boxes are great. But Dexter have gone another level and called it a lifetime guarantee, which is pretty awesome. They've actually also got the multi-organizer box too, which is pretty cool. So you can have all these totes all stacked in and have everything organized, and then even mount it on the wall, which is one of the things I love about the Kubrick system. And there's like so many options, you can really kind of change it up to your needs. But I don't think we get the Dexter Pro box. Contour gauge is one of those things that I never really get on with them, but when you need one, there's not much else quite like it for going around a little architrave. Yeah, they've got a good selection of Ryobi stuff. Can't see any of the 4 volt, but the 18 volt is the foundation of any power tool kit, isn't it? And they've got a massive selection of stuff here. There's definitely a lot more to go for here. Even like some unusual stuff like the tire inflator and the BFG's toothbrush, which is pretty cool as well because, not many BFGs about in the UK, so maybe they don't need one. You've really got some niche stuff, to be fair. Electric cork gun. And I don't even think I've seen that before. Big old airy light that folds out. To give you a bit of an idea on price, this is like their standard combi driver. So it's 579 zloty, which is about 15 quid, something like that. So I think when it comes to like branded stuff, the prices are pretty similar to the UK. They don't seem much cheaper. Some of their own brand stuff is really, really good price, as far as I can see. Right, let's keep going. That's pretty interesting. All the hammers in this setup here are quite traditional, to be fair. So you've got like an engineer's hammer, lump hammer, like these are like classic claw hammers. That's a pretty cool one. That's the thing with the Dexter line as well. So in the UK, you'd find like a white label product or like an own brand product, and they're all usually like a DIY budget tool. But in Europe and in Leroy Merlin specifically, every time I've been here, you've got this Dexter Pro line of really good tools, professional grade tools. Cool. But then they've got this thing, and why are you choosing one over the other? Because the price isn't too much. You know, this one's actually a cheaper claw hammer here, still a good one. This one here is a tenner. What's the use case? There must be a use case for this thing. There must be some problem that needs solving with this particular type of hammer, but maybe you can let me know in the comments. What do you reckon this is for? Do you know? Let me know, because there's no help on the ticket, I can tell you. That's pretty cool. Now I've got this exact same thing, or very close to it, made by Knipex, and I think it was 30 or 40 quid. So these are like two halves of a utility key that magnet together. This one is 22.99, 23 zloty, about £4.50. Bit of a stark contrast in price, that, isn't it? That's a bit of a drop. That is a pretty cool pickup. I think I'm gonna get one of those. I can compare it to the Knipex one. And that'll go nicely with me Waart Zollstock as well, so I can actually have a tool from the brand of Zollstock, which is pretty good. Right, I'm getting one of them. Oh look, shadow foam. Don't often see little lasers, different grades of sponge and stuff. I don't think you do very well organising your toolbox for that, but I'm sure someone would try. Well, I think we know what box everything's going in, or we know what brand of box everything's going in, because not only do they have a lot of Kubrick options, they're also made in Poland. And they're not made far from here either, which is a winner. I think they've got the whole range of the System 1 2.0 box. Quite cool, they've got a full palette of this stuff right at the front. I think I'll keep looking around. And that there is definitely up there with the quirkiest levels I think I've ever seen. Look, it just looks wild. Look at all this. Looks more like a toy than a level, but I've never seen a torpedo level built in to your long level. How good is that? That is flipping genius. I think that's the best place for it, to be fair. Keep your torpedo level in your long level, and then if you're doing something and this won't fit, you can just bust that out. That is so flipping cool. That is mad. Absolutely, that is an absolute new one on me. I've never seen a level within a level that can be removed. 83 zloty, so not too bad, about 17 quid. Like, they could charge a lot more for that, I reckon. Dexter, 10-year warranty. That's awesome, that is. And this thing removes as well, look at that. So twist that, and then that pops out. And then you've got like a little tiny pocket level. Tell you what, that ain't going in my suitcase though. This is the only problem going abroad and finding big stuff. I'm like, that isn't going in my suitcase. Might have to post that back. That is mental. That's cool. That's something I've seen before, but never in a hardware store. So that is like a saw. You only really see these in like survival kits, like a really small saw you can pack into a little kit and then you can cut branches down if you need to. So I'm not sure where that's got an advantage over a full length saw, but that's pretty cool. 3 quid for a wire saw. I think we'll give that a go, because I think 3 quid, that could just be trash, but it also could be quite a cool one. So let's have a look. I've actually been looking for one of these for our bandsaw for cutting foam, so I can have a really nice flat clamp. I think I need 1.8 meters, but this one has got the ability to add like an extra piece of track to it. So Dedra's the Polish brand. So this thing's pretty cool because 1.4 meters straight edge clamp, but then you can also add additional lengths of track. Now I could do with a 600 length of track. I'm sure you could probably get that. I mean, if you can do an extra 1.2 meters of track, half a meter of track's light work, innit? But that's pretty cool. That is definitely going to be a nightmare to get in my suitcase though. So I think I have to draw a line somewhere, but that's pretty good. I like that. It's the kind of stuff you just don't see on the shelf in a hardware store in the UK, but we've got a really good selection of power tools and then accessories you don't see as well. So this is the System Pro stuff. I always like the clamshell. I think it can be like a standalone box. Just have it as one, have your toolkit in there. It's got a seal, it's nice and it's a nice quality one, but then it's not just your standard kind of power tool box that, you know, can't attach to anything. This will attach to all the other Pro boxes. It's always just nice to see like different ideas of like, you know, thinking of it outside the box, or inside the box, or below the box, or just underneath in the middle of the box. But they're just trying to mix it up, create more variety so people can kind of find a system that works for them. That's definitely one I've not seen before. Not sure of that. They got them poking out the back and all. Pretty good. That's 53 quid. So that's. Oh, no, that's the one above. So that's 53. Because it's 169. So that's like it's about 35 quid. It's a hefty old toolbox for 35 quid, that, isn't it? I don't think we need that one. That's mad, isn't it? Kubrick regularly get a box within a box, and just to make sure that you can still get a tray, they've made a really slim tray. Look at that. Tenner for 2 boxes and a little tray. But I think for us, it's got to be the Pro drawers. So a 3-drawer toolbox, 250 zloty, that works out at what, 50 quid? You can't, there's not many other systems on the market you can get a 3-drawer toolbox at all. I think with Pro Stack, which is a similar width, you can get a 2-drawer box or 1 single deep, and you pay about 40 quid, but it's much smaller. So an extra tenner and you're getting 3 drawers. It connects to a much broader range of boxes, and it's got its own handle, it's proper solid. And then this one is like 200 zloty, so it's about 40 quid. And you've got a deep drawer, which is, for me, it gives you a lot more options. You can get some deep power tools in there. You've still got a slim drawer, and that's the same price as like a T-Stack or a Pro Stack. And you've got a whole extra chunk of space, and it integrates. You can also mount things on the sides, and it goes kind of connects to the Kubrick One system as well. So, and the black Kubrick stuff's all made out of recycled material, so that's a bit of a winner as well. Right, so I think that is this store picked clean. I've got a few really cool bits and a giveaway as well, so make sure you drop your comment. And I've got a toolbox to put it all in, so let's head back to the workshop. So I'm back from another trip to Poland, and Leroy Merlin always delivers. Second time I've been to a Leroy Merlin shop, and I found a full bag of different stuff. They have different stuff in different Leroy Merlins in different countries, it turns out. And obviously that's what I was hoping for. Number 1 is pretty exceptional. I can't wait to show you that, but I've got 10 others to get through. I also picked up a toolbox, the Kubrick Pro drawers. I've already got a few boxes in the Pro system, but I didn't have the narrow drawer and then double depth drawer. So as you know, I've organised some shadow foam inserts for these that fit perfectly in the box. I've got a twin pack of 50mm red, but these do come in a whole variety of colours. 9 colours we've got in these, and as you know by now, they fit perfectly in the drawers. We do inserts for every power tool case, and that one fits absolutely lovely. But I'll keep one out, and as I go through my top 10 list of tools, I'll do a layout. Now, big thanks to Kubrick for inviting us over to Poland, because I wasn't just there for tool shopping, I also did a Kubrick factory tour. I also taught the team at Kubrick in their studio how to cut shadow foam. They loved it, and they were pretty good at it as well. If you want to see the Kubrick gang learning how to cut shadow foam, go and click here. We'll link back to their video. It's in Polish, but fantastically, YouTube auto-dub in English now, so it's pretty cool to hear the American accents over the top, and then me speaking English, not really knowing what's going on. So a pretty fun watch, that one. Go and check it out, and we'll have more of that footage on our channel very, very soon, so stay tuned, including the Kubrick factory tour. So let's get into my top picks from Leroy Merlin. As I said, this is a store I've loved before, found some amazing stuff from their home brand Dexter, and this time is no exception. Number 1 is really, really cool, something special. So let's get straight into it, starting with number 10. Number 10 is a pretty interesting little pickup, and it is this Ster'g 700mm wire cutter. I've seen these in survival kits before. People quite often chuck these in like a bit of an emergency go bag or like an outdoorsman's kit. Never seen one in a tool aisle in a hardware store, but this one is not just for cutting branches in the forest. It also says it can cut PVC pipe, so I thought it was worth a look at, and it could be maybe a really good version of a wire cutter, because some of the ones I've seen in survival kits are pretty ropey. First thing I can say about this, I think it's going to make my hands sore. This saw will make you sore. So first reaction, feels pretty sturdy, but there's only really one way to see how good this is. Let's go and cut a branch and a pipe and see if it can do what it says, not quite on the tin, but on the packet. Right, I found a piece of old pipe round the back of our unit. Let's see if it'll cut this. This is like some 4-inch sewage pipe, so pretty good test. But that is a picture of pretty much the same thing on the back of the packet. Let's give it a go. Well, that's biting now. It's wanting to roll it quite a lot. Oh, that's straight away got quite locked in. I'll tell you, I have to get my knee on that. It's biting so hard. I don't know how the heck you would get it to keep soaring. It's almost got too much. It almost touches it too much. Like that might be a better way of doing it. So it's got less contact. Oh, that bite, when that bites, it's flipping not going anywhere. Oh, now we're through, it's going. Whew. Tell you what, that's a workout, that is. There's definitely a lot easier ways to cut pipe and get a square finish. That is crazy. Right, let's cut a branch. Right, I think this fallen down bush with a few old branches on it will do us for a good test. Oh, flipping hell. Let's give it a go on the branch. Whew, tell you what, I don't know why you would use that over just a folding saw, because that is a flipping workout. It is one of the hottest days of the year, and you don't want to be cutting branches with that. But that being said, it has cut it neatly, and once you get to grips with it, basically you can't have it over here and pull like that as you naturally would, because there's too much friction. You have to be kind of like outwards, but it cut through, so it does work. And look at that, it's folded itself up nice and small. It's a heck of a lot smaller than any other saw, so I'll give it that. Pretty cool, I think. That's number 10. Let me show you number 9. Number 9, something else I saw in the shop was another saw and a blade. And this just caught my eye because they call it a hacksaw in Poland, but I've not seen this style of hacksaw before in the UK. Let me know if you have. Essentially, it's much wider, and you've got a fine metal tooth on one side and then a woodworking tooth on the other side. And I also picked up one of the handles that they have to hold it. We'd usually have a hacksaw blade in a traditional looking hacksaw, wouldn't we? Sometimes you can put it in a little handle and turn it into a bit of a pad saw. This is what they've done here. This very kind of cheap plastic handle, but it's got a bit of support on the top. They've got it set on the hacksaw blade. Well, I can tell you now, I don't rate the handle. I do not rate the handle at all. I bet a lot of people in Poland are getting injured off the back of this pad saw, because that is flipping mental. But we're nearly there. Just got to put that in the back support. Again, there's no real way to do that. Even that, you know, that screw makes no difference. So I've got the blade fitted the right way around now, and I've still got my log set up here from the old wire saw. So let's see if this cuts any better. No is the answer to that one. That bent. There's no flex in this. Usually a hacksaw blade's got some flex in it. It wouldn't do that. That's very unusual. Blooming hell. I don't think you'd get that with a hacksaw blade. Bending just like that on that little, on the top of that support bar there, it's just bent. No, that's hopeless. Well, don't worry, because I did get a separate blade. Maybe this is the cheapest chips one that they include. We'll upgrade it to the Drell version. Let's give that one a go. That one does clip in okay. No. Can't even be bothered going all the way through that. That is pretty hopeless, but interesting nonetheless to find a hacksaw that's wider with a metalworking side and then a woodworking side. Interesting, but not very good in my opinion. So that's number 9. Let me show you number 8. Number 8 on the list is a classic that I'm always on the hunt for, and that is a 2-meter Zollstock. And this one is a pretty cool one actually. Brand is Waart, which I can't say I love the brand too much. I wonder what that means in Poland. I can't imagine that'd be a hugely popular brand over here in the UK, but it is a lovely Zollstock, a nice quality one for the collection, which puts us at 74 in the collection. We are getting ever closer to that 100 Zollstocks, which is pretty amazing. What do you think I should do when I've got 100 Zollstocks in the collection, all different brands from all over the world? I've got to do something special. Put them in foam maybe, but what else could I do? What could I put in foam with them maybe to kind of mix it up? So get your ideas down in the comments below, and if you do get your ideas below, you will be in the running to win one of these Zollstocks because I bought 5. You know how we do it on the channel. We love little simple giveaways. All you've got to do to enter is drop a comment, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I've got 5 of these, and I've actually pulled out another little one there. So I got 1 of these for my collection, and I got an extra 5. So we can have 5 giveaway winners as always, and all you've got to do is drop a comment. And I did pick up this one as well. This is pretty unusual. I don't often see smaller branded Zollstocks. This is a 1 meter folding Zollstock with the logo on it. Usually, if I do see a 1 meter one, it won't have the brand printed on it, it'll just be plain. All the ones that I find, they're a little bit special or a little bit different, there's something about them. I've got a little separate collection going of that, so maybe we'll do a top 10 weirdest Zollstocks video in the future. Let me know, but that one is going in that drawer. But that is my number 8 pick. Make sure you drop your comments down to get involved in the giveaway. But that was number 8. Let me show you number 7. Number 7 is a Polish brand I've not heard of, and that is Dedra. Dedra had a lot of tools in the shop. They were just kind of pretty standard general purpose tools, but this thing stood out because firstly the name, a Winkhaus. You know, that's pretty interesting. It's called the Dedra Winkhaus, and it essentially is a little spanner for adjusting your French doors or patio doors. Quite sturdy, that, thicker than I expected actually, and then an Allen key for going around corners. So I might have a look at my doors, because sometimes, if you didn't know, when your door's sticking, when like a UPVC door or a French door sticking, the hinges have a little adjustment on them to kind of just lift the door and stop it sticking. So there's a couple of adjustments on most doors, and I think this is just to make it a little bit easier to make those adjustments. But I thought that might be handy to have next time a door needs an adjustment, and it was the only thing from Dedra that I didn't have that looked pretty interesting. So there we go. So that's number 7. Let me show you number 6. Number 6, we're on to a tape measure, and this one is definitely quirky because it is so flipping tiny. I've looked at a couple of little small compact tape measures, but this one does take the biscuit. This one is by Mega, and it's 1 meter. And I think a 1 meter metric tape measure, and it's still metal, is quite handy. A meter is all you need for a lot of jobs, for small measurements. So having that on your keys, I think, is flipping genius. First time I've seen one of these in a hardware store. Usually it's like a little bit of a souvenir gimmicky thing, isn't it? But having it in the tool aisle is a pretty unusual one. And I didn't just get one of these, I did get an extra 5, because I thought, what would go better with a 2 meter Zollstock than a tiny little tape measure, 1 meter tape measure for your keyring. Now I'm a bit of a fan of a compact tape measure. Let me show you this. This is the Magnum 5 meter tape measure that we sell at Top Notch Tools. If you don't know what Top Notch Tools is, it's my new website for all of the quirky tools that I find around the world that you can't get in the UK, because I have so many people asking for links, and if I can't put a link to something, I try and source it and bring it to the UK shores. So Magnum was the first brand from Finland. We brought in their compact tape measures, and just to show you what I mean by compact, here is a Milwaukee 5 meter tape measure, and this is the Magnum. It's like 25–30% smaller, but it's still a full width tape measure, really nice quality one, but it's just really tightly wound. And you can get that at topnotchtools.co.uk right now, along with a bunch of other Magnum tools and Rapid Edge tools from Canada. That's our second exclusive brand on Top Notch Tools. So exciting things to come with that, and keep checking back because we're going to be adding tools all the time. But I think the 1 meter tape measure does take it in terms of the smallest tape measure I've ever seen. So there we go. A great little addition to the giveaway. Get your comments down below. If you pick something up from Top Notch Tools, let me know down below. I'd love to know what you've purchased, what you've picked up, and all those comments will be entered into the giveaway for the little bundle. So there we go. That is number 6. Let me show you number 5. Number 5 on the list is an item from Leroy's own brand, which is Dexter, and this is their pipe cutter. Usually pipe cutters are like this circle or a cylinder that kind of you hold in your hand and you can twist it around the pipe, but this one they fitted a handle to, and it's a pretty good price as well. I just thought it was something to look at. Potentially next time I'm doing some pipe work, give it a go. Sadly, I had a look around, I don't have any pipe here, so I can't give it a test, but as you can see, most pipe cutters all have just this literally this metal housing here that you slot onto the pipe, and then you twist it round, and it tightens and tightens and cuts through the pipe. This one, you can see, you twist it, you slot the pipe in here, you've got the handle to go around and around and possibly make it easier. I'm not too sure, to be honest, but the price really grabbed me. I thought it was a good price. And when you go to Leroy Merlin, you've got to include a Dexter item. Most of the hardware stores we're used to in the UK, the house brands are usually quite budget, basic stuff, whereas in Europe, and particularly at Leroy Merlin, but in a few others as well, they have a pro line of house brand tools. So that's a pretty cool pickup from Dexter. That is number 5. Let me show you number 4. Number 4 is a tool made in Poland. Now, whenever I visit different countries, I'm always on the lookout for tools made there. And with Poland, there weren't too many options, but this did catch my eye. This is Comensal. Doesn't look too unusual. Nice quality handle though, but it has got a little bit of something going for it. It's got this metal tab on the top, and then this whole kind of thing lifts off, and you've got little storage in the handle. which I don't think I've seen that on a scraper before, but it's a nice quality one, made in Poland again, which is what I'm always on the lookout for. Finding out where tools are made, which countries certain tools and certain brands are made is always interesting to me. So that is a new one on me, Comensal from Poland, and quite a cool one. I think having a bit of storage in the handle is quite good. Maybe if that was filled with 1/4" bits and then a little 1/4" bit driver on the end. I have seen a couple of scrapers with a 1/4" bit driver on the end, but none of those had the storage in the handle, so maybe that needs a bit of combination. So that's number 4. Let me show you number 3. In at number 3 is an item that didn't fit in the bag actually. This is the Jufisto 60cm level and marking tool. Pretty cool this. Right from the start it intrigued me because it obviously looks quite interesting. Toblerone shaped ruler with some marking points on the side, but it's also got a quote from Galileo on it. And I think this is probably the first tool I've ever seen with a bit of an inspirational quote on there. It says, "Measure what is measurable and make measurable what is so." Galileo. So there we go. I think if I was tasked with putting a quote on there, it would have to be something like, "This is on another level, this is next level, leveling up, you're measuring up." That's what I'd have gone for. But you know, measure what is measurable and make measurable what is so is also a pretty good it's a pretty good option. This to me just stood out as quite an interesting and handy tool. They've kind of amalgamated a couple of items here. You've got the level, and you've not just got one value, you've got 2 vials for vertical and horizontal, which is pretty cool. I'm guessing that comes off yet. And then on the side, we've got these little markers. If you're trying to hang a picture or fit maybe a bulkhead fitting, I did have one of our viewers mention that when I showed this, the Weir version, which is very similar, on the channel as one of my favourite tools from a tool fair, he went out and bought one for every member of his team for putting fire exit bulkheads above doors, because it's so much quicker to just hold that up, get it level, and then mark your 2 holes and then mount stuff. Well, this is a little bit cheaper. It's 60cm, which is longer. So I thought that was a pretty cool pickup. Definitely something I don't see very regularly. Something I've not seen before in this design and style. That's number 3. Let me show you number 2. Number 2 is a tool actually from the Waart brand, and that is their 10-in-1 utility key. Now, I couldn't buy a Waart Zollstock without actually buying a Waart tool. That's kind of how I try to do things. If I find a cool branded Zollstock, then it's a tool brand, I do like to get one of their tools. Now, this tool is something I actually have in the wall behind me. I've got the Knipex version, and it is a 10-in-1 utility key, which is just essential. If you're working as an electrical engineer fixing machines, you have to have one of these on you at all times, because the panels will always need a panel key, and there's a few different common sizes, but just having all of them in one little tool is fantastic. But I think the Knipex one's in the region of 35–40 quid, which is quite expensive for a panel key, basically, when you can get the same thing for about £1 if you get like a really basic utility key. This though is like the happy medium. This is much cheaper, and it does look the same. However, I can tell you that it's definitely not quite the same. It does feel a lot cheaper, not nearly as heavy, and the magnet is not working, which is a shame, because that should magnet quite nicely together and be one piece. But actually this one here, you can't part that at all, and it takes a bit of a pull to get them apart, and that's what makes that really nice. Actually, looking at these, it does look like the exact same mold. Every little detail on these, the writing, the 9–10, the different sizes, even the little placement for where the logo goes is the exact same on the Knipex one, but obviously with the Knipex you have actually got the brand on there, and you don't have it on this one. I wonder if Knipex make it, or they've lent the casting or something. I can't really imagine Knipex lending the mold or giving the mold, so it just seems like a bit of a cheaper imitation. But I do think, you know, in terms of a starter toolkit and getting something in there that's going to do the same job, but not at nearly as high a quality, it's not too bad. But there we go. That is my number 2 pick. Let me show you my number 1 pick and my favourite from Leroy Merlin in Poland. Now, the number 1 pick I couldn't even bring back in my suitcase. It didn't fit, I had to ship it back. Thank you to Kubrick and Lucas for sending me this in the post. It's Dexter branded, it's a 1 metre level. What makes it so different? Well, I can't tell you that it's super high quality, but in my opinion, it's a very high quality idea and concept. I love the concept of this. It just feels to me like it makes sense. Why is there not a high quality version of this on the market? Now, what is it, I hear you ask? Well, it's a 1 metre level. It's got the 2 vials in it, as a long level should, but it's got a torpedo level built in. Here, look at that. You pull that little tab back and you've got your torpedo level stowed away nicely inside your 1 metre level. And it doesn't stop there either, because you've got this little pocket level here stowed nicely down the other end, which is flipping awesome. Execution is a little bit lacking. I can't say it's the best level or even close to the best level that I've ever seen, but in terms of functionality, It's really got a lot going for it. It's also got a ruler built in on the top. It's also got this interesting little angle finder, which I can't say I rate that very much. I mean, a bubble's perfectly fine, but if you do want to have specific fall on a drain, sometimes you'll have vials with lots of different lines on. Well, this one has got a little angle finder, which is pretty cool. But yeah, having the torpedo level stowed away inside the level, I thought was genius. And I think a really good quality version of this needs to exist, because I think that is pretty cool. So that was my top pick from Leroy Merlin. Let me know in the comments what you think of this and this concept, because I loved it. As soon as I saw it hanging up, I was like, can't believe I've not seen something like that before. But maybe you have. Let me know in the comments if you've seen anything like this before, or if you like the idea, if you'd like to see a professional grade one. All those comments will be entered into the giveaway for the 2-meter Waart Zollstock and the 1-meter little tape measure keyring. We draw all of the winners out on a giveaway video over on the Shadow Foam channel. You can see all of the previous winners on all the previous giveaways, and we just use a random comment picker to pick the 5 winners. So that's all the tools. That's my number 1 pick. I have done a little bit of a rough layout while I've been going through. We've got the pipe cutter, we've got the level. Let me cut all this into the Shadow Foam. It doesn't take more than about 5 minutes. Let me cut all that in, and then I'll talk you through how easy it is and stick it in the drawer. So there we go, that is everything cut into the foam, and that literally was 6 minutes flat of cutting. That is how quick it is to cut shadow foam. All you have to do is place the item where you want it to go, cut around it with a scalpel. It comes in the cutting kits provided with most orders at shadowfoam.com. Peel back layers of foam and create your own tool organizer. So protect your tools, get your tools organized with shadow foam. Let's stick it in the drawer and get the final effect. And there we go, that is all the tools organised. So hopefully you enjoyed this one and learned something, discovered some new tools like I did. And if you love tools and you're interested in a bargain, don't miss the Whatnot auction coming up on Monday at 8 PM. Top brand tools, all starting from £1. It's pretty exciting stuff. I'll put a link in the description to the Whatnot show. If you use that link, you'll get a £10 credit to spend on the show as well if you've not already set up an account. So make sure you do that. Get yourself a tenner, come and spend it on some top brand tools. And I'm going to be doing that for the next few weeks, so you've got loads of chances to grab yourself a bargain. Hopefully see you on Monday. Thanks for watching the video, and we'll see you next time.